Now, because all the work we've done, we'll have enough vaccine supply for all adults in America by the end of May. That's months ahead of schedule. And we're mobilizing thousands of vaccinators to put the vaccine in one's arm.
Thousands of vaccinators to vaccinate everyone. That sounds amazing. But it does raise at least one vexing question. What if you don't want to get vaccinated? Not everyone does. Some people have religious objections. Others have concerns about this specific medicines. Others simply don't want it. Do you need a reason to turn on the vaccine? And what happens if you do turn it down? Will you be allowed to fly on airplanes or go to work or enter the front doors of Madison Square Garden? Joe Biden didn't specify, but it's pretty hard to believe he would support any kind of vaccine coercion. As he has told us so often over so many years, if it's your body, it's your choice.
I support a woman's right to choose under that constitutional guaranteed provision. And quite frankly, I always will. Folks, I'm going to fight to protect a woman's right to make her own personal decisions when it gets to her health care.
Quite frankly, you've got the absolute right to make your own personal decisions about your own personal health care. Period. That's in the Constitution. Joe Biden would never violate that right. He's been defending that right since before you were born. It's your body. It's your choice. Period. Of course, as with everything, there are caveats. If you don't take the shot that Joe Biden wants you to take, if you persist in making your own personal decisions about your own personal health care, then Joe Biden is going to have to shut the country down again. No socially distanced barbecues for you, buddy. You're going to have to eat your hot dogs alone inside.
If we don't stay vigilant and the conditions change, then we may have to reinstate restrictions to get back on track.
To which CNN might say, hallelujah! But we're not CNN. Instead, we're left wondering, could there be any civil liberties implications to any of this? We don't know the answer, and that's why we are happy to turn to attorney and journalist Glenn Greenwald, who joins us tonight. Glenn, thanks so much for coming on. Now, I don't think this is necessarily a debate about vaccines or this vaccine or medicine even. There is a civil liberties component to all of this that hasn't gotten a lot of attention. How do you see it?
There's been a civil liberties component to the COVID debate from the very beginning. Obviously, there have been extreme debates about free speech. Now you're not permitted to question the efficacy of masks, whereas a year ago, if you had gone online and said that you should wear masks, you probably would have been banned because the consensus at the time was that you shouldn't. But there was a very consistent message for the first 4 to 5 months, which was anyone who doesn't stay at home is essentially killing grandma sociopathically, risking the lives of our older citizens. And then suddenly in May, when George Floyd was killed by the Minneapolis police, and there was this huge protest movement all over America, suddenly the exact opposite message rained down, which was now it's not only your obligation not to stay at home anymore, it's your obligation to go out onto the street. Huge numbers of people densely packed, one on top of the other. From the very beginning, health advice and lockdown laws and just the social ethos surrounding what we're required to do has been completely politicized by people pretending to only follow the science. And we've seen some of the most draconian limitations on our freedom of movement, on our freedom of association, on our ability to live. Businesses closed all over the United States and no right even to question the efficacy or the wisdom of those policies.
So on the question of vaccines, and again, this is not a debate about this vaccine or whether you should get vaccinated, but there are some people who don't want the vaccine for whatever reason. It seems very likely at this point that they will be restricted from doing a number of things that Americans have taken for granted that they can do, like go to work on or fly on airplanes. Is there a civil liberties implication there? Is that a violation of their rights?
Of course, I personally intend to take the vaccine when it becomes available. That's just the assessment personally that I have made. But other people, as you've said, for scientific reasons, for political reasons, for religious reasons, or whatever other reasons, don't want to take the vaccine. In fact, large numbers of the population, not just in the United States, but in countries around the world, are adamant about not taking it. The question then becomes, why should they be restricted? If all of us who want to take the vaccine and who are able to take it are now protected from getting the virus or from having the virus harm the organism when we do get it, if that's the point of the vaccine, why are people who don't take the vaccine a threat to anyone but themselves, which is essentially the whole foundation of individual liberty, is that you always have the right to do whatever you want without the government requiring you, as long as you're not hurting anybody else. But they're already talking about things like vaccine passports, where you only can have the rights of citizenry if you submit to a vaccine that you don't actually want to have. And I can't even think of, maybe since the internment of Japanese Americans during World War II, a civil liberties restriction as draconian and disturbing as that.
I think I haven't heard it as crisply and intelligently summarized as that, and there's no question as to why they're trying to shut you up, which they definitely are, and I hope they never succeed. Glenn Greenwald, thank you.
Thanks, Tucker.